Security Council will now be Mr. Grundberg for his briefing.
We had hoped, and the Yemenis had expected, that by this Ramadan we would have had an agreement on a nationwide ceasefire and measures to improve living conditions in Yemen. I had hoped I would be briefing you about the preparations for an inclusive political process. Public sector employees across the country should have been receiving their salaries and pensions. Oil exports should have resumed, which could have enabled more effective service delivery and improved economic conditions. And we should have had another agreement on the release of prisoners, allowing loved ones to return home in time for Ramadan. While these hopes and expectations have not, to date, been met, our efforts in finalizing and implementing a United Nations roadmap remain undeterred. The longer the escalatory environment continues, the more challenging Yemen's mediation space will become. With more interests at play, the parties to the conflict in Yemen are more likely to shift calculations and alter their negotiation agendas. In a worst-case scenario, the parties could decide to engage in risky military adventurism that propels Yemen back into a new cycle of war.
And thank you to Special Envoy Grundberg for most people in Yemen, food insecurity is an issue of affordability, not accessibility. As people in Yemen very clearly told me when I visited governorates of Aden, Sana'a, and Amran last week, they want sustainable solutions to the causes of their humanitarian needs and the opportunity to define for themselves how to rebuild their futures.
والمساعدات الإنسانية المتجهة إلى الموانئ اليمنية يشكل حصاراً اقتصادياً على الشعب اليمني يقود إلى مفاقمة الأزمة الإنسانية مع تصاعد أسعار المواد الغذائية الأساسية وارتفاع تكلفة النقل والتأمين وإعاقة سلاسل الإمداد وانعدام الأمن الغذائي. وتتطلع الحكومة اليمنية إلى دعم شركاء التنمية إلى شركاء اليمن في التنمية من الدول والمنظمات الدولية للمضي قدما.
Recent developments, including the continued escalation in the Red Sea, is complicating the mediation space for finalizing and implementing the United Nations roadmap. This roadmap is meant to operationalize the parties' commitments to a ceasefire, the resumption of an inclusive political process under UN auspices, and measures to improve living conditions in Yemen. I also caution that the longer the escalatory environment continues, the more challenging it will become. I therefore emphasize the importance of remaining focused on the long-term aims that we are seeking to achieve in Yemen. The needs and the priorities of the Yemeni population have not changed since the recent regional escalation, and they have only grown more urgent.